Urban Development in Karnataka Part 3. We continue in this essay our discussion on urban development in Karnataka with the activities of various urban development bodies. Urban land, water and sewerage supply, and urban transport. We start with the functioning of the Karnataka Urban Infrastructure Development and Finance Corporation for the water supply and the role it plays in this. Karnataka Urban Infrastructure Development and Finance Corporation, which is a government company registered under the Companies Act, acts as a nodal agency for implementation of various urban infrastructure projects of the state government and also for the government of India. Apart from the budgetary support that is received from the government, the company raises a financial and other technical resources through multilateral lending agencies such as World Bank, Asian Development Bank and their subsidiary agencies for the successful implementation of the projects. Following are the important projects and schemes implemented by this corporation through Brihat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike and 7 city corporations and other urban local bodies in the state of Karnataka. One is the Karnataka Urban Water Sector Improvement Project. Another is Karnataka Urban Water Supply Modernization Project, Karnataka Integrated Urban Water Management Investment Program, implementation of water supply and underground drainage program in 16 urban local bodies. There is a municipal investment component which provides investment support for the urban infrastructure improvement in the selected 32 urban local bodies of the state. Now, what are the programs that have been implemented by the government of Karnataka for a better sanitation, which includes sewerage and drainage? A proper sanitation facility is the key to the urban people welfare, as the lack of these facilities could lead to serious health hazard. Sanitation includes solid waste management, drainage and management of drinking water supply. In the year 2008, National Sanitation Policy was launched by the central government. The objective was to provide a totally sanitized, healthy and livable and good public health and environmental outcomes for all their citizens. And it was with a special focus on hygienic and affordable sanitation facilities for the urban poor and women as well. Under this national sanitation policy, the government of Karnataka has been sanctioned 2 crore 50 lakhs by the government of India. Then there is underground drainage schemes. This is a project of Karnataka Urban Water Supply Development Board, and it is for providing water supply and sewerage in 213 urban areas of Karnataka. This excludes Brihat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palika, where there is a separate plan. By 2014, the board has successfully implemented potable water supply in 93 urban areas. It had also completed 11 schemes for shifting sources of water from groundwater to assured surface source of water. The overall objective of the development board is to improve the efficiency of the supply and distribution systems and reduce water losses, and also aim for 24/7 supply in the long run. Let us take a review of the work done so far by the board. By the year 2014, as said before, the board had effectively implemented almost all the urban areas with the surface water as the source. Only 9 more urban areas have been left out. Underground drainage has been laid down in almost all the urban areas. The board has come out with a proposal to set up a state urban and water supply council. This would oversee the water supply and sewerage operations of urban local bodies. It would provide a technical assistance to the urban local bodies and act as an advisor to the government. It is also envisaged that the council will play a coordinating role between the urban local bodies and the water boards and also perform regulatory functions. Participation of the private sectors in assisting these urban local bodies for water supply is still questionable, as the government is still apprehensive towards this. Now let us see the trend on the usage of domestic energy. It is seen that only 33% of the households in the state and 12% of villages and 65% in urban areas use LPG or PNG or electricity or biogas for cooking. However, use of LPG for cooking purpose has seen a rise by 14% across the households in the state. Rural households have seen 6% and urban households have 12% increase as seen from the 2001 figures. There is one important urban development body, that is the Directorate of Urban Land Transport. Let us see what are the functions. Most cities in Karnataka, including Bangalore, are suffering from the impact of poor mobility planning. In the past, congestion and travel times are an increase with the increase in the use of personal vehicles for mobility. The Directorate of Urban Land Transport was set up in 2007. The key functions of this directorate are to take up a periodic assessment of travel demand and determination of level of public transport that is required on different corridors and the type of transport system that is required in a given area. Next is to provide necessary hand-holding support for conceptualizing and implementing mass transit public transport projects. Further, to advise government on urban transport matters referred to it by and also the policy issues. To initiate in-house studies on appraisal of transport infrastructure related projects. And also urban transport sector and academic institutes and lobby groups towards achieving sustainable mobility are to be coordinated. The Directorate of Urban Land Transport has grown in strength in the last few years. The mobility plans for all 6 city corporations have been prepared in the previous years. It came out with the parking policy as they recognized that the lack of parking management was one of the main reasons for the congestion on roads. Parking management through parking pricing, restriction and regulation of on-street parking, and professional management of existing parking resource, both on-street as well as off-street, etc., was important. Some of the highlights of the parking policy introduced in the cities like Bangalore and Mysore are: in the parking action plan, assessment of the demand for parking was carried out and the parking facilities were systematically identified at both on-street and off-street locations. The aim was to reduce the traffic demand in the area by restricting parking supply and by strategically introducing a parking pricing. It has identified the multimodal integration at metro stations as a critical component to promote the public transport usage. The Directorate is in the process of preparing the station accessibility plans for all metro stations, and the work has been awarded in case of 12 metro stations in the year 2014. State Urban Transport Fund is provided to strengthen and introduce urban bus systems in 2-tier cities of the state. City bus services have quickly gained a massive acceptance. They underline the need of good public transport even in smaller cities. The city bus services have considerably reduced the travel expenditure of daily travelers and the students, resulting in cost saving. Hassan city bus service, for example, is a very good example of a transit system of making profit within a very short span of its implementation. An amount of nearly 28 crore rupees has been released as assistance to the state road transport corporations in this regard. One of the projects for the development of urban development is Bus Rapid Transit System for Hubli and Dharwad. This project was formulated for the implementation of Bus Rapid Transit System to improve public transport in the twin cities. bus rapid transit system gives a scope for both low and high density passenger movements. It is a high quality and customer oriented transport system with a low cost urban mobility. The proposed bus rapid transit system corridor length is 22.25 kilometers with a cross sections ranging from 44 meters to 35 meters in between and within the city limits respectively. This corridor will be closed system, that is, no other vehicles except BRTS bus will be allowed in this corridor. The project also includes improvements in the transit infrastructure like terminals, depots, and interchanges, and improvements to non-motorized transport infrastructure for about 60 kilometers. The project cost is estimated at nearly 700 crore rupees, out of which $47 million is the anticipated assistance from the World Bank. In a similar way, bus rapid transit system project plan has been implemented for Bangalore also. Another project is the suburban rail system for Bangalore. It is a project plan for the suburban rail system connecting Bangalore to nearby towns like Ramanagaram, Channapatna, Tumkur, and Doddaballapura, etc. The state on its own initiative has engaged Messrs. Rights, that is RITES, to conduct a detailed assessment of this project. The total project cost is estimated to be nearly 8,760 crore rupees. A special purpose vehicle, Bangalore Suburban Rail Company Limited, is being set up for the implementation of this project. Now let us see what have been the best practices of the Directorate of Urban Land Transport. The Directorate of Urban Land Transport, as a part of its sustainable initiatives, has proposed to make the fourth Saturday of every month a vehicle-free day. This initiative is to encourage Directorate of Urban Land Transport employees to give up the use of car or two-wheelers, including government vehicles, for a day. It is an effort to promote the sustainable modes of transport like public transport, that is buses and metros, and walking and cycling. The initiative was started on 31st August 2013 and it has successfully completed its fifth vehicle-free day during the year. With the similar objective of reducing the congestion of vehicle on roads, the Directorate of Urban Land Transport also organized Feel Bengaluru Cycle Day in 2013 and 14 to build a critical mass of cyclists in Bangalore. The event has been showing a participation and support from the Army and the NCCs, IT companies, and decathlons. However, there is a need for strengthening the institutional setup of the Directorate of Urban Land Transport by means of setting up of Transport Modeling Laboratory. This will consist of state-of-the-art of software that are necessary for projecting traffic forecast and studying various traffic improvement alternatives in a scientific manner. This software will also be used for developing and coordinating regional transportation plans. Then there is also need for a creation of centralized database for storing and disseminating the transport-related information to various stakeholders. Now let us take a look into the urban land management. The urban land management is the integral function of the state government. Various policies and programs have been formulated with the objectives of facilitating supply of land for welfare and community purposes, ensuring more distribution of land for providing shelter to low-income groups, spatial distribution of population and activities consistent with the state priorities, and optimum utilization of land for economic development. The state government needs the following strategies to achieve these objectives. One basic strategy would be to do appropriate planning for the usage of land. Then the maximum usage of land for the public purpose, land registration system that would guarantee title to the property, housing policy with focus on the weaker sections and low-income groups, and fiscal measures, all these are required. Now, changes in the government strategies to ensure effective urban land management are required, namely in respect of land acquisition. The Land Acquisition Act of 1994 needs some rigorous changes to ensure the speed up of the process of land acquisition, which is currently lengthy and too slow. The recommended changes in this respect are: a person not satisfied with the award or the compensation of land acquisition currently goes to the court. Recommended change in this respect is that instead of the court, the case should be addressed by the tribunal, which would deal with the matters exclusively meant for revision of the compensation. This would speed up the process. Then it is also necessary to make the provision for alternate means of acquisition and compensation, such as land pooling, transfer of development rights, and other land sharing arrangements with the farmers and the landowners. A provision also should be made that the Karnataka Industrial Area Development Board, which is another important government body, is empowered to acquire land for industrial purposes, and it should also obtain the clearance for municipal or planning authorities and should submit an urban impact statement while developing any industrial estates. This would ensure a sort of integration in the overall urban development plans for each city. Then there is an issue of land title registration. When an immovable property is transferred by way of sale or mortgage, etc., what is registered is the deed and not the title. Absence of clear title to the property is one of the reasons for dubious transactions and enormous amount of litigation in our country. It is also a hurdle to obtain easy credit for housing or other purposes. It is therefore essential to introduce a system of the state guarantee title of the land or property title certification system. All land records in urban local bodies must be computerized. In this context, Urban Bhumi program also must be initiated. A Directorate of Urban Land Records must be created to deal with all matters relating to city survey, maintenance of land records, and utilization of land title. This is especially relevant since there is no record of how much land belongs to which agency at the state and urban local bodies or the district levels. Now let us see the fiscal measures that are essential in the urban land management. Land-based taxes are the important source of revenue for the state. Besides the property tax, few more taxes can be considered for a generation of revenue. They are: vacant land tax. Developed urban land is scarce, and keeping such land vacant for long must be subject to heavy taxation. Then there could be a betterment fee. It can be levied whenever there is a change of land use or there is a development, and the taxes could be on the land which can yield a better income to the owner. Impact fee. This could be levied to finance the additional city level services. Then there is a valorization of charges. They can be levied to recover specific project costs. Now we have come to the end of the essay. We will summarize the key points to remember in this essay, and they are: Karnataka Urban Infrastructure Development and Finance Corporation is a government company registered under the Companies Act, and it acts as a nodal agency for the implementation of various urban infrastructure projects of the state government and also the Government of India. There is a Karnataka Urban Water Sector Improvement Project, Karnataka Urban Water Supply Modernization Project, Karnataka Integrated Urban Water Management Investment Program, and there is also implementation of water supply and underground drainage program in 16 urban local bodies. In the year 2008, National Sanitation Policy was launched by the central government with the objective of providing totally sanitized, healthy, and livable, good public health and environmental outcomes for all their citizens. It had a special focus on hygienic and affordable sanitation facilities for the urban poor and women. It is a work of Karnataka Urban Water Supply Development Board for providing water supply and sewerage in 213 urban areas of Karnataka. Bangalore, of course, was separately looked after. By 2014, the board had successfully implemented a portable water supply in 93 urban areas. There is a Directorate of Urban Land Transport that was set up in 2007 to look after the transport aspects of the urban areas. The key functions of this directorate are to take up a periodic assessment of travel demand and determination of level of public transport required on different corridors and the type of transport system required in a given area. It also aimed to provide necessary hand-holding support for conceptualizing and implementing mass transit and public transport projects. There is a state urban transport fund that is provided for strengthening and introducing urban bus systems in two-tier cities of the state. City bus services in the state have quickly gained a massive acceptance, underlining the need for a good public transport even in smaller cities of the state.